We are going on week 3 of the vid. All right. So we are back this week and we are talking all about attention.
Yes.
Last week, we spoke about offers and how to pivot your offer and how to create offers and all of that good stuff. And we explained at the beginning of last week. So you won't obviously be able to go back on Instagram, but if you are curious, you can go to my Facebook business page. It's at Lori Kennedy Inc., same handle as IG. Go into the video section and go look at the 5 videos that we did last week, because it will make much more sense to you if you're new, if you're just, here for the first time, what we're talking about and why we did it this way. Do you want to just share why we did it this way, why we're sort of going backwards? Because one would think that
yes,
well, in order to actually make sales, you need to bring them in first, but our process is backwards.
Our process is backwards, but it's backwards for a very good reason, because you need to know what you're talking about before you start talking about it. Otherwise, you are not bringing in the people that you can help, or you're just not bringing in people in the right way that you can help, so they don't know that you can help them. So what I mean by that is that until you know your offer, until you know the problem that you solve and the transformational outcome that you provide, you aren't able to reverse engineer the actual specific topics, the actual specific stories, the actual ways that you can get in front of your ideal clients in a way that feels really good to both them and you, and clearly demonstrates that you know what you're talking about, that you do have authority in this, that you do have a solution, that you do have answers, and that you can help them. So we have to start from back, forward a little bit, reverse engineer. And now, for all of you who did your homework this past weekend and figured out your problem that you solve and the outcome that you provide, now we can figure out exactly what you need to talk about so that you are able to get that attention.
Yeah, because, 2 things. One, it's never been more clear now that having these fundamentals, whether you are a clinic owner, whether you have a small business, whether you are solely online, this situation, I saw somebody say this, and so I didn't make this up, but it's absolutely true. This situation didn't, I shouldn't say, well, I don't remember exactly what it was, but this situation illuminated the gaps in the model, right? I know that a lot of you were forced to shut down. So what I was going to say was, this situation didn't break the business. It highlighted the cracks in the foundation, which I still think is relevant and I still think it's true, but it just felt a little insensitive to say it that way. Because I know for a lot of you, your business was shut down overnight. But that doesn't make it less true that because you lack certain key fundamentals, like an email list, like the ability to nurture, like the ability to pivot and offer things online, simply because you either didn't know that you needed them or that wasn't the model you were taught, or for whatever reason, the situation that we're in right now illuminated the cracks in the foundation to the point where you can't leave them now. I have bricks at the bottom of my house. There's this stack of bricks right at the base that are the caulking. I don't even know what it is. The inside, what the mortar. Yeah, mortar is decaying. This house is, I don't even know how many years old, whatever. And the bricks are falling out. And so I had somebody come and I was like, this is the foundation of my house. They're like, it's not supporting, it's fine. And it's this teeny tiny narrow thing. And I was like, okay, they're like, you can leave it for now, it's fine. And I was like, cool, right? But the key elements that we need in our businesses that you've left are not fine. No. Email list, brand, community, all of those types of things. Those are foundational support beams that, because, right, we're in this situation, have cracked the foundation, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. The next thing is, I want you guys, we didn't ask this at the beginning, so I apologize. How are you? How are you on this Monday? And I want you to give me a description, no judgment. You're allowed to say that you're not okay. I want you to tell me actually how you are, because I'm going to use it as examples of how to use your own experiences to relate to your ideal client. So, genuinely, how are you? I want you to respond on Instagram. I want you to respond on Facebook. I want you to tell me how you are. I want you to tell me something that is good, and I want you to tell me something that you're struggling with, because I'm going to use this as content for, yeah, so blah. That's, I know my answer to that. How are you? Meh. That's my answer these days. Meh. Awesome and meh. But get a little detailed here in your response, because we're going to use it. So this is why we're basically doing this. So let's talk about attention. Let's talk about how to get it. Let's talk about how to pivot our message. Let's talk about what to say and how to say it. And that's what we're basically going to be doing all week. We have an outline. So today is attention, tomorrow's nurture. Wednesday, we're going to do calls to action, because we need to teach you calls of action to action before we teach you actually how to come up with posts and emails and priming and all of that good stuff. All right. So 2 things that have to happen right now. Like, we're in the thick of it. We don't know what next week's going to be like. So we're just going to go week by week and pivot our messaging to the tone, right? To the current circumstances that we're in. And the 2 things that I want you to think about always are, how is this going to get attention? Actually, 3 things. How is this going to get attention? Right? What am I going to do to get attention? How is what I'm creating going to make the person feel? And what do I need to say to get them into a better position to say yes to me right now? So those 3 things are, how am I going to get attention? What am I going to do? Am I going to create a recipe? Am I going to do a live? Am I going to email? Like, what actually am I going to do to get front-facing attention, to stay top of mind? 2, how do I want the person to feel? So the content that I'm about to put out, what do I want them to feel? And then 3, what do I need to say to get them into a better position to say yes? Because you need to match what you say to how you want them to feel, right? So those 3 things I want you to think about. What am I going to do? How do I want them to feel? And what am I going to say? Or what am I going to say that's going to then elicit a feeling, right? So those are things that I want you to keep in mind every single time you create a piece of content. So that's first and foremost. I want you to keep that in mind. Next, I want you to think about your unique situation right now, right? Our unique situation right now is that we have children at home when we normally don't, right? Laura has like a full house.
Full.
Right?
Bursting at the seams, y'all.
Her husband's working from home. Her 2 parents are quarantined in the basement because they were traveling. So now they're all 6 of them are quarantined and taking one for the team. You know, like, she has a new puppy that she got, 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Yep.
Right?
All these things are true.
Can't go to puppy school. You know, she's trying to work, maintain her sanity, right?
Yep.
What's your question? Yeah.
Can dogs get the vid?
Daniel's asking, can dogs get the vid?
Nope. We do not see evidence of that in the dog
there's
population.
no evidence yet. So, you know, that's Laura's unique situation. And so there is the lifestyle component to what she is doing. My unique situation is that I am riding solo with these 2 kids who are here a lot of the time, right?
All the time.
you know, the challenges that I have are different than the challenges that Laura has. And so when I speak to my ideal client, right, I bring in the challenges that I have in addition to teaching the things that I know that they need. And so what I want you to think about is what we talked about last week, right? Is the problem according to your ideal client right now, not the problem you know that they have, because those are two different things, right? It's the problem according to them. So if you're watching live and on the replay, tell me the problem according to your ideal client that your brand and business solves. Let's just forget for a second that we're in the vid, that we're in this acute crisis, right? Let's just forget that for a second. Tell me right now, type it in. What is the problem according to your ideal client? What is the complaint that they have? What is the issue that they want gone, right? Not the underlying reason that they have it, but what is the issue that they are like, I cannot take this anymore? What is that? Maybe it's their weight, maybe it's their skin, maybe it's their painful periods, maybe it's I don't know what, right? Whatever that is to you, I want you to tell me in the comments what that is right now. It's really weird on Facebook because I can't see so good. Like, can I raise up the
comments?
Yeah, it's really weird, eh?
Yeah, Facebook has been just
pleasant.
Oh, no.
Unpleasant. Sharon says the urge to eat all day long. Aspie 101, having resources to understand Asperger's and just live well. Okay. Yep. Exhaustion and chaos. Yep. Lacking energy. Yep, totally. I'm looking on Facebook's trying to. Parents are anxious and totally exhausted. Yep, absolutely. So these are the problems that your ideal clients experience right now. Yep, burnout. So I would extrapolate on that. They might complain like, I'm so burnt out, but what are they also complaining about? So what I want to bring to your attention is making sure that you're not missing the mark when you go create content right now. Because our job right now is to dial in the problem that they have, that they experience, and connect it to your offer, right? And through your content, bring them to an understanding, to a belief that gets them into a better position to say yes to you. And if you aren't starting with understanding your ideal client's experience right now, not 3 weeks ago, right now, you're not going to make sales, period. Feeling like they're spinning their wheels, getting overwhelmed, and just going through the motions. Yep, totally. My client's problem is how to manage chronic pain patterns. Yep. So what we're going to get you to do is I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to put headings, physical and emotional, and I want you to draw a line down the middle. Do you want to share why we're getting them to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest problems that our clients have when, they start to work with us is they say, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about that's going to make sense. You're telling me to get attention and do lives and send emails and do posts, but I don't know what to talk about. This is what you talk about. So you're talking about the lived experiences that your clients have in relation to the problem that you solve, right? So you're talking about the physical manifestations that they're experiencing right now. And for a lot of your clients, that's going to look a lot different than it did 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. So this is something that you constantly have to go back and revisit and say, what is true right now for my person? What are they experiencing, right? That's the first one. Second one is emotionally, how does it make them feel, right? Like, how can you connect with them over the emotions that they're feeling? And what do you want to do to bring them into your world a little bit more deeply and keep their attention? Because attention and sales and just the general process of connecting with people is emotional, even more so than it is about talking about the physicality of things. So by having these two lists, if you can come up with, 10 in your physical column and 10 in your emotional column, that's 20 potential pieces of content. Now you know what to talk about for the next month if you do this properly.
And I want to just dive a little bit deeper just to give some examples on that and why we're saying to do this. In our opinion, we do not recommend you ignore the current situation, right? And pre-scheduled posts, pre-scheduled emails, everything that was pre-scheduled, we're saying halt it and either use it, but you need to manipulate it and pivot it, or don't use it at all. And what we're dealing with right now is you literally stepping into your ideal client's shoes and saying, okay, if they're already burnt out, if they have Asperger's, if they are exhausted and already feel chaotic, if they're already lacking energy, let me go over here to Facebook, if they already had chronic pain, anxious and totally exhausted parents, how is this situation exacerbating that? How much worse are they now because of this? And you have to address it from a physical perspective and an emotional perspective. That's how you're going to get attention, right? And you can do it from a variety of hooks. You can be funny about it. You can be educational about it. You can be relatable about it. You can include your own experiences, right? You can put your stick in the ground and sort of do an us versus them type situation. You can paint a better picture. You can be inspirational. You can be motivational. There's all these different hooks about it. But the fact is that if you don't understand the problem according to your clients and how they're feeling about how they're now feeling given the added COVID situation, you're not going to get their attention. And the idea is, I want you to think about it like, first you need their attention, then you can educate them, right? You need to validate their current experience. You need to relate to them in some way. You need to build trust with them. And then you can start educating them, which brings them to a better position to say yes to you. But that immediate front-facing, what do I post question is you literally toggle. It's as simple as you make your brainstorm list. Okay. You have your physical stuff. You have your emotional stuff. Monday, I'm going to do one physical. Tuesday, I'm going to do emotional. Wednesday, I'm going to do physical. Thursday, I'm going to do physical. Friday, I'm going to do emotional. It's that simple. And anyone with respect who's telling you that it needs to be more difficult than that is making it harder for you than it needs to be right now. Right? Yep. They're just making it, you need to have this, all these things. Nope. All you need to do right now is put yourself in your ideal client's shoes, think about their experience, and validate it. That's it. You want their attention? That's how you get it. Right? That's how you get it. Kylie says, my clients are scared that they will now be in pain again because I'm closed. Right. Validate that.
That's scary.
That is scary, right? How can you validate that as a legitimate fear? And they probably will. My back is killing me, right? Because I can't do my normal thing. I can't go to the chiropractor. I was chatting with a friend and she goes to Pilates 3 times a week and she goes to the chiropractor and she gets regular massages and she's in legitimate pain. Her massage therapist isn't reaching out to her. I was like, did they even contact you? No. Like, dumb. Like, that's dumb. Yeah. Don't be dumb, right? Like, yes, that's a very valid situation. So how do you address that? How do you hold their attention so that you have your calendar booked out solid for when you are able to, I don't know that if you're a massage therapist, but I was just giving that example. Like, how do you leverage this time, right? How can you self-massage, right? Like, there's so many different, there's so many different things that you could do to get them into a better position to even pre-book with you. I'm going to be slammed when I come back, right?
Yeah.
Save your spot, put a deposit, right? But you know, if you are not putting yourself in your ideal client's shoes and validating their experience right now, you're not going to get their attention, and you're not going to be able to hold their attention, right? Because you're not being supportive.
Yeah, like I always say, like, think about your clients as your best friends, your like closest people to you. If your best friend comes to you one day and says, I have this problem, and talks to you all about it, and then you just never ever ask her about it again, or check in on her, or see how she's doing, is that a good friend?
Or you give her some completely unrealistic piece of advice that, given that you know her so well, you know she's not going to do.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Right? It's the same thing. So here's a mistake that we're seeing right now in real time that we hope that you course correct on. So in your mind, you're thinking, okay, like, what do they need right now? And remember, you are not your ideal client. Okay. You are not your ideal client. So giving all kinds of recipes and meal plans and workout plans that require things that are not accessible right now, right? That require, Daniel, turn it down, please. That require all different kinds of like health food ingredients that maybe they don't have or they can't get, or meal plans that require them to do like a full grocery shop or like a kitchen clean out. Like, no one's doing that right now. No one's doing like this extravagant grocery shop. They're getting the staples. They're getting non-perishable items. Like, put yourself in their shoes. If you're giving them meal plans and recipes and workouts and all of these tips that require things that they already don't have in their home, they're going to be like, screw this, I can't use this. And screw you, because you're not really thinking about me.
You're not helpful.
You're not helpful right now. Tell me how to stay healthy. You know, give me recipes that I can use with non-perishable goods. Tell me how I can make smoothies, you know, using frozen fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
give me a grocery list for 30 days of things that aren't going to expire, that are going to help me get to the result that I want to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Give me stretches and exercises that I can do at home, given the fact that you know that I have chronic pain and I have no one here to help me. Right? Yeah. Like, put yourself in their shoes. And so if you are sending emails, if you are posting on social media, you know, we want you to think about how to relate to your client given the time that we're in right now. And it's really, really important that you are creating content from scratch at this point. Yes, right? I know that, you know, I even had my content stuff built out. We have our marketing meeting this morning, and I'm like, guys, I'm just creating it on the fly. Like, there's nothing for you to schedule ahead of time at this point, because I'm taking the temperature. I'm taking the temperature of my community. I'm taking the temperature of you. I'm watching the news. I'm gauging the response. Well, I'm not watching the news, actually. I'm gauging the response of the news on social, in my communities, and from my clients. And I'm creating real-time content to serve my audience, given the current circumstances. And so, you know, in our methodology, in my book,
in the book
that I now have to ship out to everybody, pillar 1 is stand out from the crowd. And right now, we want you to show up as a leader and stand out. So ways that you can do that: you can use your personal Facebook page, because it's going to get a lot of reach, and we'll give you some specific examples. Another thing is, you guys, be a leader. Are you sending emails to your family, your work colleagues, people on your actual real personal email list saying, hey, I know you're struggling. Here's some tips. Here's some good, helpful resources. Here's some YouTube videos to keep you at home, fit, whatever. Or are you so concerned that they're going to think that you're too cool and you're trying to do whatever, and be all this like know-it-all and Miss Perfect healthy, right? Are you too concerned about other people's opinions, or are you putting yourself in a leadership role and saying, I know that this is hard. I'm struggling. Here's how I'm struggling. Here's what I'm doing to support myself. I'm passing along these free resources to you. I hope that they help. That's how you get attention, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to share how to use a personal Facebook page?
I do. I really want to talk about this because so many of you are doing it wrong, and it scares me. And it scares me for a couple of reasons. Okay, so I want you to think about your personal Facebook page as being, it's like your public facing business card that is showcasing you as either a leader, somebody who stands out in their field, somebody who, you know, is trusted, and somebody who is constantly sharing good information. But it is not a direct call to action to work with you. And so it is actually it sounds convoluted and complicated. It's actually really straightforward and simple if you break it down. So Facebook is very clear in their terms of service. Facebook wants you to have all of your business activities coming from your business page. They make it quite clear that your personal page is not to be used for business activities. So what that means, if we break it down, is that on your business page, you're going to have calls to action to work with you. We're going to talk about that on Wednesday, when we talk about calls to action. So you're going to have specific calls to action to work with you, like schedule a call here, whatever that call to action is. That's on your business page. On your personal page, you are not directly promoting yourself in a situation where people should be registering for a webinar, booking a call with you, buying a product from you. Those are not appropriate for your personal page. But what's appropriate for your personal page is good, timely information, right? What's appropriate for your personal page is you showing up and, you know, giving good quality content, you talking, you know, about your perceived viewpoint on the situation and what you think matters right now and what people can do to help themselves. You're demonstrating that you're a leader, because here's the truth of it. Your personal Facebook page has more reach and has more eyeballs on it than anything else you do. If somebody Googles you, which they will Google you if they're thinking about working with you, because that's what we do now. The first thing that's going to pop up on 90% of your Googles for each of you is your personal Facebook profile page. So if they go there and you're sharing like a lot of cat memes and, you know, maybe some images, pictures of like a family reunion, and, you know, maybe
or really strong political views, that like personal venting, like just stuff that's not necessarily on brand.
They won't see you as a leader. They won't see you as a leader. They won't see you as someone credible. They will just see you as just another person who's trying to, you know, make a go of it in a certain business. Whereas if they go to your personal page and they see like really good content demonstrating that you are an authority figure, you know, they see you showing up and holding space for people and just, you know, giving people good things to think about and, you know, further things that they can do and just things that generally help, then that's going to be a very, very different impression. And that person is likely going to want to take the next step and do whatever it was that you asked them to do, whether it was on your business page or in an ad or whatever the case may be. So you need to now start thinking about that. If you've been using your personal page for things that don't really make sense, maybe it's time to go and turn certain posts off from being public, turn certain albums off from being public, you know, really think about your description, really think about the profile picture you chose. It should be a picture of you, just to put that out there, not a picture of like a cat or a dog or a logo.
Or a car.
Or a car. Please don't do a car. Not a car. But all these things matter. And it's time for you guys to start doing this.
So connected to attention, we're talking to you about how do you get attention right now and stay top of mind, because all of your current and past and future ideal clients are on social media now.
More than ever.
Like, we are seeing views go through the roof. We are like, everything is increased because they're home all day and they're on social media. And so we want you to think of your personal page as your business card, right? You wouldn't hand somebody a business card that like you cut from construction paper and like, you know, drew a picture of yourself in Sharpie with like your, you know, your phone number scribbled on it. Most people put so much pride into their business card, you know, and so much time and energy into this thing. We want you to think about your personal page as your business card. And some examples of how to use your personal page would be going back to that physical list and that emotional list and talking about, you know, what you're seeing right now in terms of, I'm seeing a lot of people who have chronic pain, you know, if you're needing some support right now, send me a PM. That's a call to action. We're going to go through that more on Wednesday, right? Or talking about how you're managing your chronic pain right now. You know, I'm talking about how I'm managing my sanity, trying to work full time as a CEO and all of that good stuff, and having these 2 kids at home riding solo with them, right? For a lot of the time. Right? So that's relatable to the majority of my ideal client because they have children, right? Or they can relate in some way because the dog, they're home now with the dog, they're home now with the spouse, they're home with the grandparents. Like, it's relatable. I'm not doing anything other than getting and keeping attention, right? By sharing the physical side, which for me would be the, you know, the side of like the business and like my symptoms, and then the emotional side of like how it's going. And I trying to toggle between being funny. I posted a meme, right? Today, I'm going to post something about community and why it's so important. I'm just keeping attention, right? But I'm thinking about what is my ideal client needing from me right now? Not how do I make sales? How do I make sales? How do I make sales? I'm so scared of people judging me and all of these opinions. I'm just saying, you know what? How do I want them to feel? How are they feeling? How are you feeling? You know, and how do I want them to feel? And if my Facebook page has the most reach, this is where I'm going to post because I want the content to be seen. Right? So that's what we want you to do today is we want you to think about and make the list of the physical on one side, the emotional on the other. Each line item is content, right? If you should be able to, at the very least, brainstorm 10 physical symptoms that your ideal client is dealing with right now. And 15 mindsets, 15 emotions, 15 stressors, non-physical things that your ideal client, whether it's related to their problem or not, it doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't even matter. You know, me being terrified to go grocery shopping has nothing to do with my ability to teach business, but it's a very relatable emotion that the majority of us feel right now. And it helps my ideal client to feel more connected to me because it gives them permission to also feel terrified. If I admit that I'm terrified, me being me, they're like, oh yeah, I relate totally. And it makes us more connected. And that has it's equity. You build up equity, right? You have like brand equity, you build it up, right? So that's what we want you to do today is come up with those lists and start creating content around that. On your personal page, you can film videos for IGTV with your phone, have your outline, just talk, put it up on IGTV, do Insta stories about it, send it to your family and friends, ask them to share, right? If you have a Facebook group, this is the content you should be putting in your Facebook group. So that's what we want you to do today. Tomorrow, we're going to go into a more sort of succinct calendar and how the different types of posts you can be creating and how to nurture to bring them to a better position to buy. Is there anything else you want to add before we peace out?
I want to say this. Think about attention in the next few days and think about this. Over the course of this event unfolding, there's going to be, I would say, 3 types of people who emerge. There's going to be the people who actually disappear. So people who don't post, don't say anything, don't just kind of hide in their shell until this is over, right? There's going to be the people who show up in a negative way and post very, very, strong political messages, maybe that are very divisive, post a lot of like doom and gloom, a lot of like not helpful content. And there are going to be the leaders that emerge who show up for their friends, their family, their community, their clients, their potential clients, who are sharing helpful things, who are talking about their feelings, who are talking about how they're navigating it, and who are genuinely showing up to lead and to make every day a little bit better. Who do you want to be, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I got nothing else. So we hope that this was helpful. Make the lists. You can DM me, you can come find us anywhere on social and ask us. We're here to support you. We're here to help you. And we will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye.